Hi guys, this is Ben from 561 Music. We have a new single out. It's called Deader Than Dead from our new band Nina's Yard Party. It's the second single we've released and it's available here on the 561 Music YouTube channel or on all streaming services. Go and check it out. We spent a lot of time working on the video and it came out really great, I think.
Music free ya. Don't allow propaganda to teach ya. So many lost, allow me to show ya. It's hard that's living in the world of the dead, yeah. Shots ring out, dead and dead. I knew with a bullet.
I can't right now.
I know, it's pretty weird. Put your lever away, let's get on with it.
It's what we're doing. Come and check it out. It's what we're all about. 561 Music.
Welcome to 561 Music. My name's Ben.
And I'm Hector Antonio Diaz.
That's right, you are. I only discovered this right now, which is pretty exciting.
That's not true. I've told you that about 38 times.
I know,
but like my wife, you don't listen to me either.
No, it's true. I did forget, clearly. But yeah, so what have we been up to, Hector?
Absolutely nothing. Oh, wait, except we played 14 times this week.
Yeah. The best one, the best one's a big word. The most sort of like exciting one. Yeah, the most exciting one was we played at the Seafood Festival in Pompano.
Yeah, that was cool. It was a cool stage.
Yeah, and we were on pretty early, but now I know what it is. I'm going to try and get us a later slot next year.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Like a headliner.
Yeah.
With lights.
Exactly. It was really, really cool. Yeah, and then I played at Guanabanas, and then what else did we do?
So Friday we played at Tiki 52.
That's right.
And
yeah,
that was fun.
It was
It's
fun.
always fun there, man. There's always a good crowd. And then Saturday we had that private event.
Oh, yeah.
We thought
Tell
it was
them
a
about
birthday party.
Yeah.
And then we got there and it turned out it was like a reception of some sort, like not a wedding reception per se, but like a party after the fact, like well after the fact, I guess. And but they were both on their second marriage and they were like 85 or something.
Yeah, they were getting up there.
And pretty much everyone at this reception was in their like 70s and 80s.
They were like seniors and they were like eloping together to a new town. They'd like just got hitched and they were like, the party was because they were heading off. I think they were moving to the
I had
villages.
such mixed feelings, man, because so many people came up to us and were like, I love you guys, you're so good. But then I kept thinking to myself, like, you're all old. Is this what we've become? Like,
I mean, we're not headed in that direction. But, yeah,
oh, it was
they were
so
cool.
bad.
As older folk go, they were pretty hip, man.
They were pretty cool, though.
Yeah, like half of them were from
Dude, they
the
were
villages.
dancing. They were having a good time, man.
Do you know about the villages? The deal?
I do know about the villages.
Yeah,
but not firsthand.
Upside down Pineapple Town.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Loofahs and stuff.
Yeah, totally. But I don't know, we had a good time. It was definitely not what we expected. The food was left to be desired, but everything else was pretty cool about it.
It was just the weirdest.
It was really weird.
It was a very weird kid. All right, let's move on with the guests. I can't right now.
I know, it's pretty weird. Put your lever away. Let's get on with it. All right, so we have JP Dragon and Junebug with us. How's it going, guys?
Excellent. Thank
Excellent.
you very much.
Hopefully you're having as good a time as we are.
Yeah.
Holding in my laughs. I couldn't.
You're allowed to laugh. It's okay. Fun is allowed on the 561 Music.
Never.
Never.
So,
the villages.
I know.
Sounds pretty interesting. I mean,
Well, we had people come up to us, and by people I mean like older women. They were like, "You guys are so good. We live up in the villages. We should take your card and then like invite you guys up to play." And I was like getting a little nervous about that. I don't know.
oh man.
I wouldn't turn it down, though. I tell you what, if nothing else, it'd be interesting.
I mean, James definitely will turn it down.
Yeah.
But you know, that's another podcast.
So, you guys are a couple who also play music separately and together. That's very exciting. Could you, why don't we sort of go through like one after the other and just tell us a little bit about your music and what inspired you to start making it, and then we can talk about how you've come together and writing it together. Why don't you start with JP?
Sure. Why not?
Yeah. When did you start playing music? How old were you when you picked up an instrument?
I started playing guitar when I was about 4 years old.
Yeah.
I couldn't really play very well. I played because my cousin, he started playing, and he was getting a lot of family attention. Like the family would like kind of gather around him, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that bastard. That's so cool, you know? And so I like kept hacking at it, and I had this like old classical with like action like that.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it was just like
I know that.
it hurt. So had this guitar instructor who was like this big dude. I mean, big, massive guy, and he scared the crap out of me. And so it was like awkward at first. Like when I first got started, I just like I had a love for like hearing music, and I knew I was just drawn to it, but it really hurt.
Yeah.
So I didn't really start playing until I was about like 6, where I could play songs.
Yeah.
And I like that's when I got a new teacher and like got into really like playing and like
Sure.
you know, and then like Joe Satriani was my hero, and
Oh,
then like
really
Eric
cool.
Johnson, and I went down that route.
So you
and then-
started like really cooking pretty early then.
by the time I was like 10, 11, I was trying to like hack away at like, you know, Metallica solos and stuff. And I had learned like, you know, Stairway and like the leads to, you know, the major popular tunes by the time I was about 15, I'd say.
Cool, yeah. I only picked up a guitar when I was about 12, so you've been beat by about 6 years. That's really cool. So then, in terms of like other instruments and things, did you ever pick up any other instruments?
Yeah, I played drums when we didn't have a drummer, and I just kind of figured it out. And then I had a couple of friends that were real good drummers and instructors, and so I started to like practice and got
Yeah.
a practice pad and started with rudiments and got my own drum set. And so
Cool.
I played drums and I practice actively, and I play a little bit of bass. I sing a little bit, and I love music.
Yeah.
I really like my whole thing is just making music that I would want to listen to. I really don't like, I'm not too concerned about like anything but how it sounds to me, really.
Yeah, I think that's a healthy attitude.
you know?
No, totally. What sort of drew you towards making like reggae music and that kind of neck of the woods?
So I have a really close friend of mine. This guy, he's a Jamaican dude. We grew up on the same block, and we
Where's that?
started. That was out in Loxahatchee, actually,
Right.
and it's a good friend, mutual friend of Yaz.
Okay,
And
cool.
so Yaz and I were playing when we were about 15
Right on.
together with this dude, Peter Francis, awesome drummer, and his brother JV and Francis had a trio, JV and Francis trio, for a long time. Awesome jazz pianist.
Sick.
And so we played reggae. Peter's dad had a band that was like an opening supporting act for Bob Marley in Jamaica. And so I learned how to play reggae upstrokes from somebody who was like actively involved in the Jamaican reggae scene
Right on.
back in the day. And
That's
so,
really cool that you that you knew Yaz when if ever you're gonna have someone to kick around and play music with, Yaz
Right.
is a great one. He's so
Right.
good.
He's a special dude. He's a real Yaz is as far as like anything musically technical, anything just he's the guy I always defer to. I always ask him like, what do you think of this mix? What do you think of this chord? What do
Yeah.
you think of this melody? Like I must bug the crap out of him because he's just such a resource for me. But
You know what the thing about Yaz is that I find almost like a little bewitching is that he has this calmness about him. It's like you feel like if you ask him to listen to something, he actually does listen to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And like, because there's a lot of people who kind of, including myself half the time, who sort of like all caught up in their own business and like, you know, sort of bouncing from pillar to post. But Yaz has this kind of stillness, which I envy so much. You know? That's why he's good at mixing. That's why he's good at, you know, listening.
Yeah, he's got a really good ear, man.
He does.
Yeah, he's actually producing the, you know, mixing and mastering and recording and all that stuff for us for Euphoria.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And no, he's great, man. He does have a great ear and a completely different sort of temperament than me, and something that I just find, you know, I get a little jealous of at times. Just calm, you know. Yeah. So yeah, that's cool. So you've been playing reggae since the get, then? It's like really since get go. That's cool.
yeah, and then I mean, I've always liked bands like Sublime and Pepper and some of the, you know, the more American stuff. But I really like I'm a real old school like Peter Tosh guy.
Yeah.
You know, like Don Carlos is probably my biggest influence in Black Guru. Like
Cool.
I love like that kind of reggae.
Yeah, man. Yeah, me too, dude. That's awesome. So Junebug, when did you start playing music?
So I must have been about like 13 or 14. And my grandfather used to play, and my uncle, and on my dad's side, and then on my mom's side, we're all Italian off the boat, Avellino, Italy. So in Italian, speaking, singing, and accordions, and all kinds of like, standing on the table, and lots of wine, making our own wine in Brooklyn, New York. So I grew up around music on both sides of my family. I was so lucky. My grandfather was like a Johnny Cash player. He never learned to read till the day he died, but he was able to draw chords for me.
Nice.
And
reading's overrated.
Yeah. And he gave me his guitar. That was the first time he handed it to me out. Like I said, I was about 13.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what I was doing. I never had a lesson in my life. To this day, I have yet to have a music lesson. I'd like one. Maybe you guys can help me out.
Yeah, there you go. It is what we do here.
I just loved it. And I remember the reason I ever picked up the guitar was Pink Floyd, Wish You Were Here. I don't know. I mean, I know there's something about it. I remember always listening to my father's music. He would play all the classics, the Eagles, Rolling Stones, everything, Led Zeppelin. And I was so like enamored. And then all I did was pick it up and figure out how it sounded and what I would do. Like, little things my grandfather would show me, but, I just eventually learned by ear. So everything I do pretty much is by ear. And then later on in life, I figured out tablatures.
Right on. Well, the thing is, like, ultimately, the ear is the most important part of it. If you can do it by ear, then just learning to read music just can. All reading music is like describing what you already know because you can hear it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's important, but not.
It's your heart. I think when your heart is there with music, you feel it. It's like a universal antenna or something. I don't know.
Sure.
Like there are people who can go to school for music and try to learn it, and then there are people who just feel it, and then there's both. So
absolutely.
I feel like Yaz is both,
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like
totally, yeah.
He's such a conduit.
He was there for me recently for the song I just put out on my single. I have the whole album coming, about to be dropped, but my producer's like, hey, let's just throw this single out there, let's get it out. And so we distributed it, and then, but right before, I don't know what it was, he responded to me. Somebody was looking for a trumpet educator, trumpet teacher, and I thought, let me ask Yaz. I feel like Yaz would know somebody. So I had asked him like months ago, and he never responded. And then all of a sudden, like right before I dropped the song, he responded, hey, sorry, I just saw this message or whatever. And then I was like, oh, no, that's all squared away. But can you listen to my song really quick? Help me out. And he was like, yeah. And I'm thinking, I'm going to give this to him. I'm going to let him hear it. And whatever, he could take a couple of weeks or whatever. Literally 3 minutes later, he responded, okay, so here you go. And he listened to it right in that moment. And I just remember, I was like, this guy is so awesome.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
he has
so
Appreciation
cool.
Society going on right now.
Yeah.
He deserves it.
He is so... Then one time we went to his show. This was a couple of months ago. We went out to go see him after your surgery.
Yeah.
And Yaz yanked me on stage and made me do
nice.
Dreams, Fleetwood Mac. I was like with my phone with the lyrics, but he it's like ethereal jamming.
Yeah, that was with him
like,
and Alex.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're like epic.
Yeah,
I just love that it's just the two of them.
That
and the
loop
sound
set
is
that they do, and
It's so fun. I love that.
That's a Pink Floyd vibe to me.
I know
Like
what you
the
mean.
fact that they take you somewhere else. Just the two of them,
Totally. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Jinx.
Jinx for life. You can't talk me.
So in terms of early musical influences, what would you say? Like, there's some of the people that you listened to, but what you wanted to sound like.
Oh my gosh! When I was a little girl, do you remember VH1 pop-up video?
Yeah.
I would sit there and like I would watch it. My sister would be like, "Come on, let's put on like Hey Arnold." I'd be like, "Wait, hold on." And Mariah Carey. I remember her just getting on there and don't make fun of me, okay? She's
she's
just
awesome.
her
She's
octaves
amazing.
and her whistle and her style and Heartbreaker and and I remember looking at her and going like, oh my God, I want to look like her when I grow up. And then when I got older, people would come up to me like, you know, you kind of look like Mariah Carey.
Oh my God.
Like freaking out, you know. But she was always to this day, I'll love her till the day I die, and even after, I'll haunt her. But you know, she just to me was, she's from New York. Just like, you know, I do hair. She went to cosmetology school. She was a beauty school dropout.
That's cool.
A lot, like I just love her. I don't know.
Yeah, man. She's awesome.
I would say her.
So you guys, you both have your own musical identities, but then it comes together for an album that's in the future, but then also for shows and things like that. When you're playing shows, how do you balance that? Like, how do you guys play when you play a show?
We are so fluid. He's probably one of the best guitar players. He's the best guitar player I've ever worked with. There's a lot of people who are going to be mad at me right now. But I'm in a band, you know, we're in the Children of Ire. I've been in many bands, you know. I was in Junebug and the Reborn Highway. I was in a metal band, Nemesine. But something about JP and we have this, like, natural flow. I don't know if it's because we're both Virgo or what.
Yeah, that's why.
Are you a Virgo? But we just, you know, it's like we just look at each other and we know what to do. You know, we don't have to. The whole album we wrote was a jam. Like it was literally.
Yeah, it was like just like
in one day we wrote
improvised
a 15-song
after
album.
improvised song, and they just happened. They just popped out. It was.
We just. I don't know. Like his roots are in jazz, believe it or not. He says reggae, but he's a jazz player.
Yeah.
And when that comes out, I love like Billie Holiday and you know, and so sometimes we end up like in this weird niche.
It's weird, yeah. I mean, I'm a big Pat Martino fan, Pat Metheny fan, you know, Joe Pass, like the old school jazz players. But then I'm a Mike Stern, you know, kind of guy too. And then get back to the reggae. So I'm like schizophrenic when it comes to guitar playing.
I sometimes wrestle with that misty, you know, like
misty,
the chord, the chord melody stuff. Yeah. I'll sit and wrestle with that every now and again.
It's so pretty. It just it sounds awesome.
But I'm thinking about it, how we do it live. We just, we practice and then we do like my originals and then his originals.
Yeah.
And then our combined songs and then we throw in our own renditions of covers. We try not to mimic covers too perfectly.
Yeah.
We just do like I'll sing a male song, you know, like, or we just make it our own however we can and try to be as authentic as possible, or pull our sound together. And
nice.
people just love his solos, especially the Cougars. They love it, man. They love it. Like we just did a show in Fort Pierce. Ooh, there's a lot of them there.
Manatee Island.
Manatee, that was back in like November-ish, and I remember I'm singing my heart out, you know, and I have fans and people there. People came all the way from like Boca to be at the show in Fort Pierce, and all of a sudden, like these women, they're like, they don't care about me. They go right up to him and they're just like, you play so well.
They invited me to the Villages after the show.
Like, what do you know about upside down pineapple?
So Hector is our big gun in the band. He gets all the attention these days. It's actually incredible. Nice. It's not like nothing you've ever seen.
It's actually embarrassing.
Totally. That's cool though. How often do you guys play?
Because ever since we started working with Eric Smithson, which was January, we've been really hyper focused on the album. But we keep getting calls to like come do shows and keep getting hit up. So we just recently accepted the Double Road show. And then
so May 15th.
Oh, and then we're doing another show May 15th.
Speakeasy.
We keep saying no to the shows right now because we're trying to focus on the album, and the producer is like angry. It's like,
I know how that goes, man. I know. Before you know it, you're just playing so much.
I know. I mean, I used to play shows like 5 days a week, and then me and JP and I like. We were thinking maybe we'll do like once a month, and then now it's like no, it's probably gonna be like at least 5 times a month.
Yeah.
I don't think just getting over. I love it.
You guys doing like full 3 and 4 hour kind of stuff?
4 hours. He'll, he has to take a break because he's noodling, soloing, and he's like really. And then he'll get off to take the break, and I'm still going. I never take
She's
a break.
a workhorse. I mean, it's unbelievable. When we record, she'll outwork anybody. I mean, I'm not joking. She'll stay up all night long. Go the next the next morning. I'm waking up, and she's still at it mixing. I'm like, what got done? She's like, oh, I finished the song. I'm like, what the hell,
I just love it.
Cool. It's amazing.
It's hard to believe this could be a job. I
feel that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They say do what you love and love what you do. And I love hair, and I'm good, and I've been doing it for 20 years. But I look back, and I'm like, man, it's just so easy to do this. It's you just love it,
That reminds me of this thing that I discovered on. Have you ever heard of Ikigai?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like a Venn diagram, and then one of them is what you love, and then you got what you're good at, what you can be paid for, and what the world needs. And if you're right in the middle of that, you found your Ikigai. That's your sweet spot.
Please send that to me.
Yeah, I will do. I'll stick it up on the screen because I'm talking about it.
Isn't awesome?
But yeah, I found out. I just saw it online a couple of days ago. I was like, oh my god, that's awesome.
This
it's
is
a
a
Japanese
real
philosophical concept.
Man, the Japanese, they know their stuff.
Yeah, Kaizen and all that.
Yeah. They have it all figured out.
They do, and it's in the studio, for example, I'm very process systems oriented, and I do IT at my day job. So, but the Japanese have systems and processes in place for things, and that's why they're very efficient.
Oh yeah,
it's really really cool.
Oh no, even in my industry with hair. It's there's a Japanese straightening that's been around over 40 years, and it's something, I don't want to get into hair right now, but it's one of those things, when I perform it, I tell people, you don't need a fancy shampoo. You air dry your hair, and it looks like you spent 4 hours flat ironing it, and it's permanent, and the only thing that comes in are your roots, and people can't believe it.
Wow.
So it's the Japanese had this figured out years ago, but we're over here doing keratins. Never mind.
The really interesting thing to me about that is if you look at Japanese culture and Japanese art and Japanese music, as systems oriented as they are with things like mathematics and science, some of the music that is coming out of Japan right now is absolutely and I'm really into weird music. I love experimental stuff, but some of the stuff I'm just like, whoa,
Well, they have that kind of animism in their spirituality, where there's a god and everything. You know what I mean? And I just find that really, really fascinating. I went there one time. I was really lucky to be able to go there. I had a great time with my band. We only got to go to Tokyo, but that was. Anywho, we digress.
Cool. Oh, sorry.
Was that with Sonic Boom? Or that's cool.
Yeah. So the where are you at with recording all of this then? So you record at your house, right? You got some recording equipment?
I have a studio in my house, and I'm so lucky my neighbors don't care.
Yeah, cause I'm really curious about it because we were talking about it a little bit off mic, but you're running Pro Tools, right?
Yeah. So I mean, that's the central location, and the producer he works remote. But he also he has a mobile studio. He shows up with the K2 and everything. We just set up, and I have a loft which has a cathedral ceiling, so similar to a Zeppelin recording back in the day, or a Queen, where they would go into the cathedral and get this natural reverb. So we've got such a cool setup where we do have some soundproofing, and we've done that much. And I have to turn my air conditioner off, and I have to put stuff on I have a fountain view, of course, but the fountain is loud. So we have to and the K2 is I hear China right now, so it's a lot of work, but we make do. We work days straight sometimes with no sleep, but we have a lot of fun, it's
That's
hard.
really cool, man.
Yeah.
The air conditioning, the only way I can figure out how to turn I have the same problem with my air conditioning.
I just go to the breaker.
Me too. That's exactly what
Because I can't deal with the once in a while it'll turn on and off, so I just go to the breaker.
Exactly.
That's so funny.
I just pull the thing straight out of the middle of it.
Yes. And then about 3 hours in, especially him, just dripping sweat, and I'm just sorry guys.
And sometimes Christy will call me, my wife, and she'll be like, how do you turn a cracker? Because I would have let it off by accident.
Yeah, I do that too. The next day, I'll be like, "Why is it so freaking hot in here?" And I'm like, "Oh God, I totally forgot."
Yep.
Yeah.
No, that's hilarious. We both do the same thing. Yeah, cool. So when it comes to like the music scene down here in Florida, what has your experience been of it? Do you feel like it's supportive? Do you feel like it's good? Or do you have anything to say about like the South Florida music scene?
I loved it. I mean, ever since I started doing music in Florida, I was so happy. I got lucky with another band I was in back in 2010, Junebug and the Reborn Highway. Rodney from Dada's and Respectables, he loved us and he put us on main stage in Moonfest. And,
nice.
I was always at Dada's and I just enjoyed, things like that. There was a Schnebley winery close to Miami. Have you been?
No.
And that it's like near Fort Lauderdale area. That a lot of cool, weird scenes.
Yeah,
and the
wicked.
Keys. Like we're so lucky. Even Guanabanas.
Yeah.
Just the vibes. We're so lucky. Really.
Yeah,
This
man.
is such a touristy place to live, but it's
Yeah.
also laid back and
Yeah.
I think it's built for musicians.
For sure.
I think so too. And I mean, honestly, some of the venue owners have been really good to us. In particular, Vince at Double Roads is great. I mean, he's always supportive of what we do.
Yeah.
I think in general, the scene here is just like there's a lot of camaraderie.
It's surprisingly good. If you didn't know, you'd think that there was someone on here last week who made me laugh because they were talking about like fish sandwich music, like just the kind of music to play while you're eating a fish sandwich.
Yeah.
And there's a fair amount of that, but there's also everything else you could want. There's a huge range of music down here.
Yeah, we are really lucky, There's,
Yeah.
Even like I love playing Propaganda, just like feeling that.
Yeah, man.
When I was in the metal band, I used to even the Speakeasy down. Remember that Speakeasy?
I do remember. You played there a few times.
I played there, and I remember
Yeah.
they had this it was like a zombie apocalypse theme, and I was in the band Nemesine, and we had like Joey the Toilet and like Brett Ackling on the drums, and we were on the stage, and I remember I had to use the bathroom. We're screaming, and I'm like Evanescence style singing. And I go to the bathroom, and there's blood everywhere, and like little razors, and people were cutting themselves to be like in the scene, and I'm like, oh my God, HIV everywhere. I'm like freaking out, like I was so nervous.
wow, yeah.
And I was like,
That's pretty
okay, guys,
intense.
it was crazy. Like I remember people just getting so into the scene. Like I don't know, they're real fans in Florida. I feel
Yeah,
like.
there's some nutters, that's for
I had
sure.
an alias in that band. We're not going to talk about it. I had some crazy fans.
There's a difference, I feel like, in the scene here from like the further south you go.
That's
and like
true.
the closer to Miami you get, the scene becomes a little bit more, I think, commercialized, a little bit more California-esque.
Right,
I mean, up this way, I feel like we're a little bit more in the touristy zone still, where and then on the West Coast, obviously, like Fort Myers, that circuit's all the cover circuit, and
Yeah.
But there are a lot of great original acts that play over there too. I mean, but here I feel like this podcast is just like a godsend for musicians like
this
us,
is
to be honest
awesome.
with you guys. I mean,
love
like
this.
Yeah,
being
hell
able
yeah,
to
man.
do this and have this forum to just come on here and show you guys what we're
Yeah.
trying to do is it's a blessing.
Well, I mean, there's definitely I've lived here my entire life, and for years I was in and out of cover bands and stuff, and so there's definitely these two kind of worlds here in South Florida. And I say South Florida, I mean Treasure Coast all the way down to Miami, or Keys even. There's definitely these kind of two worlds of there's this whole cover band circuit, and I have a whole lot of friends that are in that circuit, and to talk to them about people in the original scene, like they don't even know who I'm talking about. Vice versa, I talk to people in the original scene, and I talk to them about some of my friends in the cover scene, and a lot of them don't know who they are. It's almost like two separate worlds.
There's a bit of a Venn diagram. But
There's a handful.
You're
There's a
right.
small handful of bands like Killbillies, for example, that kind of crosses that. You guys
It is two separate
playing
worlds.
covers
It's
and
so
originals when you
true.
play out. But
We mix it, but
yeah,
you're right.
but there's a very like finite few amount of people that actually
Kind of
do
sit
both.
in the middle
Yeah,
there.
it can
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of sit in the middle there, like Killbillies.
Yeah.
I love
but
that.
It is definitely, and so being in
It's
Kill
also a
Billies,
generational thing too. That's
100%, 100%. But then being in Kill Billies and starting this podcast and stuff, and then sitting with people like you guys, like I was from that cover scene, and so you know now I was like, oh, you know, after 3 years of this podcast, I'm like, holy crap, there is an original scene here, and it's huge. You know? Like there's a lot of original music here, and there's a lot of good original music here. Like that's what's crazy. Is, I mean, we're in an age now where, you know, with the internet, that everybody's a musician and everybody's a singer, but there's just a lot of talent down here. It's insane.
It's true.
Yeah. No doubt about it.
So true.
And talking of talent, would you? I think now would be a good time for you to display your talents to us. Are you up for playing us a song?
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Excellent.
Can you hear me? Should I repeat? I can't reach the shelf 'cause I keep talking to myself, facing feelings I never felt, feelings I need to quell from being somebody else. It's costing me my health, it's costing me my wealth, being someone else. Speak to me, speak right through to me, through to me, through to me, 'cause I need to fill me up with your importance, imported like a fragrance, so far from my home vagrance. Peel me like an orange and eat me alive. You wanna see my insides, you wanna see me fly. The wind is gonna blow, do you think I'll ever die? Queen Bee Beauty is busy in the hive, do you think I'll ever die? Kills me with her smile, but makes me feel alive. Speak to me, speak to me, speak right through to me. I need to feel, burning down the fire, keep me burning down the fire. Keep me burning down the fire, burning down the fire, burning down the fire. Peel me like an orange, peel me like an orange, and eat me alive. You wanna see my inside, you wanna see me fly. The wind is gonna blow, do you think I'll ever die? Queen Bee Beauty is busy in the hive, do you think I'll ever die? To feel, ooh, is busy in the hive. Speak to me, speak right through me. I need to feel. Queen Bee Beauty, bring me down to earth, make me feel high, make me feel
Just another number. Not even the fly on the wall will fade into slumber. 'Cause in the end we have to fall off the edge of the earth. 'Cause Magellan was a fraud. Said way out, turned about. 'Cause sometimes we all get lost. Just another day on this canvas we paint. Dipped in ink with scattered thoughts along the way. Straight up grinding, trying to put the time in. Time's always against us, but it keeps reminding me who I am and where I stand. And you know I'm trucking up the road, feeling scattered.
Oasis Root Kava Bar is in Sea Grape Square on Indiantown Rd, and it is a kava bar. If you don't know anything about kava, it's a Polynesian root that you grind up and you mix with water, and it has been in Polynesia for potentially thousands of years. It's an old thing that they used for kind of ceremonial and also sort of leisure purposes. It's meant to be something where, you know, that brings people together. You all take a shell of kava and chink them together and say bula and have it together like that. It's meant to be something to bring people together. It's has a kind of an effect, which is, I guess, a kind of a slightly warming effect. It just kind of makes you feel nice. It's not particularly intoxicating. It's not like drinking alcohol. So the atmosphere in a kava bar is sort of like a cross between a regular bar and a coffee house. It's pretty chill in there. You get all sorts of different types of kava bars. Some of them are more like a club, you know, there's sort of like blacklight and EDM playing. And some of them are more like a cafe. This is one of the cafe type of ones. It's super chill in there. If you're looking for somewhere to, I don't know, maybe go and do some work on your laptop or go and have a chat with friends, it's perfect for that kind of thing. There's a foosball table in there if that's your jam, or baby foot as they call it in France. And yeah, Jim, the owner, is a really cool guy, and he has very kindly sponsored our podcast. So thank you very, very much for that, Jim. They also do a poker night in there, all sorts of things going on at Oasis Root Kava Bar. 561 Music is sponsored by Live Music Community. It's where we film the podcast that you're listening to right now, and it's also where I work. Gavin, Hector's son, was a student here for a long time, and in many ways he's the musician he is today because of the teachers at Live Music Community. We taught him not only about his instrument, but also about being in a band, and his band, Unemployed Youth, accomplished a lot of goals, mostly band etiquette, how to work together, and all of the nitty-gritty that goes into being in a band on a day-to-day basis. The student signs up for lessons, learns their instrument, joins a real band, and decides the direction it goes in. And we can take people from very young age, 6 or 7 years old, all the way up to 80. There's no age limit here. We run an adult program for people who want to be in a band as adults, but really the main focus is on the kids and getting them playing together and in bands. We are also a studio, a live stream venue. We can record audio or video. The Killbillies live album, Warts and All, was recorded here. It was recorded during a live stream that we did during COVID. Justin had a great idea to record live streams during COVID. A ton of bands came in and it was a real success. Outside of that, we can record albums, we can help you with your EPK, and we have full audio-visual capabilities here. LMC is in Palm Beach Gardens on the northwest corner of Military Trail and North Lake Boulevard. And if you go to livemusiccommunity.com, you have all the information you'll need right there. All right, so we just listened to an ad for Live Music Community, and this is the time I ask you guys whether you have any advice for upcoming musicians. Why don't we start with you, Junebug?
Upcoming musicians.
Like new ones,
New ones? Like youngsters? Like 12-year-olds?
People starting out. Because I don't want to just make it just about kids.
Okay, not an age limitation. All right, if you're just starting out, my dad just learned how to play 4 years ago. So I would say do it because you realize this is a universal language of love. That in 3 minutes you can reach India. So remember, you can, all of that, it should come straight from your heart. Total authenticity. No BS. And move with love.
Yeah.
If you could just be, I think it's right, it'll be right where you need it to be, And if you listen to it, it sounds off, trust yourself, it's off. and just keep going until you can get it. And practice makes perfect, and you'll still never be perfect.
That's some of the best advice we've ever had on the show.
Oh, thank you.
It's fantastic.
Very good.
Can you top that,
Top
JP?
that.
Well, damn. Honestly, I think the best musician is the one who's having the most fun. I don't think there's anything more to it than that. If you enjoy it and you love it, then do it.
Yeah, I mean that's solid. I'll take it. So we had you guys both play a song that you both wrote. Can you tell us a little bit about that one?
You want to?
So we had, I had been working with a producer, and I was working on like collaborative things, and a friend of mine had introduced us, and then before you know it, so many originals were just popping out. And then I said, hey, I want this guy, JP Dragon, to come with us and do a song and this and that. And so the producer came to my studio and JP showed up. And in that same day, we just sat down and just started jamming. And then these songs were just coming out. And Queen Bee Beauty was the first reggae song I've ever done in my life.
Really?
And I remember sitting there, because I've done blues, I've done metal, I've done rock, but I'd never really done reggae. And I love reggae. I love Rihanna. I remember sitting there and he just started. And the first time we did it is the song we're going to put on the album. Like we freestyled it. Those lyrics you heard were a freestyle. The melody was a freestyle on his, just his rhythm. And then he ended up going over that with a nice solo and noodling and like intricate guitar details and
cool.
Yeah, so a lot of our music is just, and I'm a lyricist. I love lyrics, and all my lyrics are very deep. But he's also a great lyricist. So I have songs where he'll give me the lyrics and I'll sing them because I believe in the things that he believes in too. So it's really cool.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's really good.
I love that. And then you guys, I played a little bit of a couple of tunes that you did individually. Can you tell us a little bit about No More Wasted Time?
Should we tell them the truth?
Tell them the truth.
I think you should tell them. Authenticity, remember?
Okay, all right. So we're talking about Moving with Love, and JP and I used to be a couple.
Right.
And we had our out moment, and he was... it's so awkward. So it was sad because we had just done so much music and we were having so much fun, but we had a moment and it was bad.
Right.
And he's like, I'm leaving. Goodbye. And like left my, and the next day I'm like crying to my producer. I'm like, I don't know. And he's like, you're going to do your own song. Like, he's trying to help me get over JP. And we sit there and I just, again, it was like a freestyle moment. I remember just playing like, the intro almost sounds like No Scrubs. Like, I remember being so angry, and even in the way I was playing, I was so upset. And then all of a sudden, this song came out. Like, again, another one where I freestyled. I had no lyrics in front of me. I just felt it. And I just sang from my heart, and I was so upset. And then I did my own solo. I remember because that was the first time I'd ever done a solo.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm a rhythm player. I'm all rhythm. I like a guitar player to be a guitar player, like a soloist, a lead player. And I respect them. I don't even consider myself a guitar player. I just do rhythm. You know what I mean?
Something to sing along with, kind of
and
thing.
my producer's like, you can do a solo. You got this. And I'm like, no, I need JP to do the solo for the song. He's like, no, you got this. And I remember just doing the solo and just getting into it and being like, this is so simple, but okay. And then JP came back in my life, and JP was sorry, and we worked it out, and it was like we just realized, the disharmony, but we fixed like the issues and we were able to like communicate. But I was like, gotta tell you, I did write a song. And he's like, let's hear it. Like he was all smiles, like he was so supportive, and he's like, this is a really good song.
It is. It's a really good song.
I was like, don't be mad at me, please. And he's like, no, really, it's really good. And I was like, really? Like he was so cool, so light. And
a lot of good stuff comes from pain, sadly.
Yeah, it's true. And then he learned it for me. Like one day he was studying it, came over, and he was ready to play it. And he did it to the point where he was holding the rhythm and I was able to do my solo and we played it at our last show. So it was just so funny because the family and friends that are there are looking at this picture like, what the hell's wrong with these two? There's something really twisted.
I feel like there's a reality show coming.
It's all about music. Music is authenticity always. So,
Yeah, man.
you know, we had to face it and I try to look at No More Wasted Time as like, let's not do that anymore. Whatever that chapter was, let's not go back there.
Exactly. Yeah.
JP, we listened to a song by you called The Emergency Room. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Great story.
Yeah. So, okay. So, a couple years back, I wrote that song when I was in the process of transitioning from Connecticut back to Florida. I'm originally a South Florida native, and I had to relocate to New England for 10 or 11 years or so. And then right at the beginning of the pandemic, I was able to kind of come down because I was working remotely at the time. And so I did this transition where I was going back and forth. And I kind of came up with these lyrics and had this old, riff banging around. I think a good friend of ours, Mike Kerr, might have even had something to do with that riff of influencing it.
We have a lot of the
point.
same friends. Yeah. I'm glad we've met.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, it's awesome. But I'm not exactly sure how it morphed into what it is now. But somehow or another, I put some of it in Pro Tools, and it started to just kind of come out.
Nice.
And
dude.
then the lyrics, somehow or another, I felt like really displaced from being back and forth, going up and down the East Coast and waking up and not knowing where the heck I was. And I woke up and I had this premonition, like I was in an emergency room and something was happening and I didn't know what. They didn't know what was going on. The doctor was just like, "You're going to die and we don't know why."
Oh, wow.
And I was like, okay. So like the buzzards like circling overhead and everything. I mean, it was freaking me out in the dream. And then it was about a year ago, I had a very traumatic event happen. I had an aortic aneurysm out of nowhere.
Wow.
Yikes.
And so I went for a really long run and lifted some weights and went and hung out with...
We had just met.
Yeah, we had just met like within a week and a half, 2 weeks.
Oh,
and,
geez.
10 days.
Yeah, 10 days. And then I went to hang out at Amanda's house and
Your heart
Junebug's
was
house.
so
and
full that it exploded.
That's what we think.
That's what it was. Yeah, exactly. And
You had this premonition. Like, even in the lyrics towards the end, he's so intuitive, it's like freaky. He's got like a clairvoyancy thing, like a little, I don't know. But when he wrote that song, he had showed it to me when we first met. And I was like, that's a great song. 10 days later, the whole song happened.
Wow.
Like, serious. Like, even the end of the song, he talks about the girl. There being a girl there to take away your pain. And he asked me to come to the hospital. I didn't know him.
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah, she was there for me. Like it was major surgery. Like when I say major, like I was in an induced coma for multiple days, and they were trying to extubate me, and they were having difficulty. They thought that they were gonna have to trach me, and like it was really
and the
scary.
doctor was asking me to
man.
stay because every time I would leave,
my heart rate would freaking go up,
it
and
was
my blood
crazy.
pressure
It was
would
like
go
we
up
were
as soon as she
in
would
sync.
leave.
The doctor
Oh,
was
wow.
like, "Can you stay?" And I was like, "Oh my god,
Good
I don't
Lord.
know this guy." I'm like, okay, I'll stay. And then, I'm like trying to help, and I didn't sleep for 2 weeks. I stayed right by your side, and then every time I was like coaching him, things would like he would do well. So it was like
Wow.
we were just in sync from the minute we met.
That is awesome.
Crazy. But the song Emergency Room was an example of a premonition. He wrote it years ago, and then that song happened.
Yeah, that's
Literally every detail in that song. So that's why I was like, go from like that to No More Wasted Time. And now here we are, like,
JP Nostradamus
let's get a
Dragon.
second chance. Yeah. No, really, it's freaky.
Yeah.
His abilities are freaky. But
That's awesome. What a great story. I'm glad I asked. So what do you guys got coming up?
we got a show May 15th.
Yeah, that's a cool one. That's a little.
That's a speakeasy.
So yeah, do you want to?
That's a ticketed seat event.
It
so
is,
you gotta
so
get a pre-sale ticket, and that's we're launching my original album, his original, and then the collab album. So we got
Wow.
3 albums going on at once right now.
wow.
So,
A lot of music, yeah.
Yeah.
Same release date for all of them?
Not
we'll
Exactly.
do like, we're going to try, it's only a 2-hour show. So we're just going to give you the best ones, I guess, or the ones that we can fit in that are very
Yeah.
popular right now or
And
whatever.
in terms of actually how you release the albums, how's that going to go? You got like dates for all of those?
He's already
so yeah.
almost all the way out, right?
I've released. So what I've been doing over the past couple months is releasing singles, and then
Gotcha.
I planned on dropping all of them on an album together. That way, I could just kind of like do it at my own pace, and feel like there was no real rush. And
I'm doing it as singles with the thing I'm doing right now, and it
That's
just
the way to
with,
go.
with a couple of things I'm doing, and it just feels like it's how the music industry is set up right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yes, it's true. Yeah.
It's all about content creation. So if
Yeah.
you drop it all at once, you're done.
yeah, it's so true, and that's the new thing for us is we're trying to get good at this video stuff. I've been doing the audio recording since I was a little kid. Whether it was on a little cassette single track recorder
Yeah.
or a Tascam 4-track or whatever.
Sure.
Throughout the years, it was different technology. and-
Upgraded, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And
I'm the
and
same way. Yeah.
now the video thing is like the new focus, and I'm like, how do I do this? How do I wrap my head around
Yeah,
this? And
that's where I'm at too. I've been really like working hard at the video
The
lately.
TikTok generation, man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, if they don't see it, they don't believe it.
And if it's not vertical, they don't care.
Yeah.
You're not even kidding.
And it's like 1 second.
Yeah.
1 second. 1
Exactly.
second. It's just like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm not used to the short form content, although it's really easy to edit like a badass part of your
that's true.
solo, and then
Yeah.
like, oh, look at me, I'm awesome, right? And
Totally.
Yeah.
like the rest of your solo sucks,
Yeah, there's a lot of comedians now who are
Never.
getting big on TikTok, and you wonder, could they actually pull off like a 20-minute set? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They have these snappy little jokes here and there, and it works. But what are they like if you stick them in a theater and have to watch them for half an hour? It's hard to tell. But, yeah.
Yeah, I suspect a lot of those are less dynamic thinkers than they appear to be.
Yeah, totally,
You know?
man. I listen to like a million podcasts about that kind of thing, and people talking about that all the time. Listen, it's been an absolute pleasure. You guys play wonderful music, both separately and together.
Thank you.
you.
It was
Oh
super
my
nice to hang out with you guys.
Thanks.
You too.
So
And
fun.
I'm very glad we met.
Thank you for
Yeah,
having
thank you.
us. This
Oh,
was
yeah.
so
So
special.
fun.
You guys
Awesome.
really make it possible for everybody from as young as, I love the fact that you guys are doing this,
Well, thank you.
I feel that energy, and that's really beautiful.
Well,
Yeah, thank
you guys
you.
are just a perfect example of why we do it, because there's so much wonderful talent down here. Just and
yeah.
we're all just trying to be heard and get ourselves out there, and that's what this is for. So,
Yay.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
all right.